All right. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Michele Schenk, a former product development engineer and project management director who spent nearly 20 years climbing the corporate ladder while secretly battling anxiety, burnout, and the pressure to always look fine. After leading high stakes teams and multi-million dollar projects, she hit a breaking point. No more pretending, no more surviving, and she flipped the script and turned her private struggles into a powerhouse mission. Today, she's a bold coach and founder of The Inner Edge and coach helping high achieving men and women stop managing anxiety and start taking back control of their lives. Her approach, no fluff, no just breathe clichés, just tactical tools, real talk, and a whole lot of power. Because you didn't come this far to hold it all together, you came to thrive. Uh, Michele's journey is one of resilience, passion, and transformation. She was born and raised in North Dakota. She grew up with a strong Midwestern work ethic, which she carried through college while raising her son, who found his passion on the hockey rink. Their lives are filled with sports, snowboarding in the Rockies, and supporting his dreams until a career ending injury led him down a new path as an aspiring electrician. Beyond coaching, Michele thrives on live music, comedy shows, and unique immersive experiences like the iconic 1940s ball. She's all about going all in, whether it's a themed event, Halloween, or an adventurous hike with her high energy border Aussie, Murphy. But at her core, Michele's biggest passion is helping people. She believes in fostering connection, understanding, and holding space for others, even when perspectives differ. Michele, I am so excited to have you here today. So, welcome to Empowered and Out.
Thank you so much for having me, John. I really appreciate it.
So, before we get started, what can you share with our audience that's unique about yourself and maybe even, your coaching?
Well, I would probably have to say that I've lived through the tough stuff, right? I myself personally, I wish I would have found a coach sooner before I hit that breaking point, kind of the point of no return, if you will, where I needed some pretty deep therapy and things like that to get myself out. Um, yeah, I think I've lived the hell that is, being a woman in tech in a high performing job, high stress job, always having to be on point, you know, always expected to be at the right place at the right time, no mistakes. It was kind of an impossible feat, but I made it out alive. I'm still here.
Awesome. And that's awesome. I love that. And honestly, listeners, one thing that Michele and I do have in common right currently is that we actually both are in Colorado. So she is not my first guest to be in Colorado, and she probably won't be my last. But she's actually just north of where I am. So it's kind of fun to have a fellow Coloradan to interview for my podcast. So I sent you over some questions, and I do this with every guest that I have. And for me personally, I try to tweak them to what we're going to talk about and what your focus is and what your expertise is. Just so keep keep it fresh, keep it exciting. Don't want to feel like I'm doing the same monotonous questions for every guest I have. So I did that a little bit at the beginning, but I've learned. And so here we are. So, what inspired you to transition from being a high achiever, like you mentioned, struggling with anxiety, to helping other, people like yourself take back your control?
Yeah, so as you kind of mentioned in the beginning, right? Like I spent nearly 2 decades in engineering, corporate leadership, all as a single mom, driving hard, delivering those results, right? Looking really successful on the outside. But on the inside, I felt anything but. I was exhausted, anxious, disconnected, just always level 10 stress. And I really had no idea how much stress and pressure had just become my baseline until my body forced me to stop. I got to a point where I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't focus, I couldn't really do much of anything. Like getting out of bed most days when I hit my breaking point was really, really tough. I was just always waiting for that other shoe to drop. And kind of one of the worst parts was I guess I felt like that's what success was supposed to feel like. And it really did take a complete mental breakdown, right? To realize like high achievement doesn't mean anything if you're miserable while living it. And that wake up call really led to deep personal work, years of therapy, unlearning and rebuilding, and in that process, I realized I wasn't alone. That was one of the scariest parts, was always thinking I was alone, right? Everyone else looks perfect. They all look put together. Well, I was doing the same thing they were, putting on that face, right? Putting on that facade. So many people live on autopilot, silently struggling and thinking like they are the problem. There's something wrong with them, but they're not, right? Nobody's broken. Just the system is where how we've evolved into living as society. That's what's broken. And that's why I built Inner Edge, right? It's not another self-help brand. It's a mission. It's a movement, It's a place for people who are done with burnout, bullshit advice, band-aid solutions. People don't need more productivity tips or toxic positivity. They need a baseline, a way to stop surviving and start leading, right? Leading their lives the way they want to live. So my goal with Inner Edge is to catch people before they crash, right? Burnout shouldn't be the price of success. And breakdowns shouldn't be the wake-up call. No one should have to fall apart just to realize that they should be living differently. And that's what I help people do, kind of wake up before the breakdown. Success without control isn't success. It's just stress that's dressed up in really nice clothes. And while I love really nice clothes, that tailored blazer won't fix burnout.
Very true. Yeah, it's funny that you mention it, because I think one of the things that we do such a good job of hiding is on social media. People create this fake facade that everything is perfect and everything is great all the time and wonderful. And I feel like it hasn't come until recently, really, that people are maybe a little bit more blunt in how they feel. I definitely know with seeing your videos, you share it out there, you put it out there, like, this is what you're going through. Like, stop with the with the bullshit things. There's ways to get to get better if you have burnout. And I love this because so many people, and you probably would agree, sometimes they don't want to admit they're going through the burnout. And I think that it's awesome that you created Inner Edge to help people that need this. And I have to say, you're probably going to be helping a lot more people than you think, because there's a lot of people in this day, that are going through everything that I'm 100% sure that you can help with. So with Inner Edge.
And I'm excited for that, because I struggled for a really long time alone, and I don't want that for people, right?
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
It's really not.
So you mentioned turning anxiety into clarity, confidence, and control. So can you share a key strategy that helps, make the transformation possible?
Oh, yes. So one of the most powerful tools I have is called the Awareness Accelerator. Most people try to fight anxiety in the moment, right? When it's already taken over, right? You're in panic mode. Oh my God, now what do I do? Well, of course, right? I help clients and I have tools for that, right? I've got some of those fast, practical strategies to kind of help calm down your nervous system when anxiety spikes. But that's really not the focus of what I do, right? I'm not a therapist, not here to help you cope with anxiety for the rest of your life. Like my goal is to help you eliminate those patterns that you've subconsciously created. Just eliminate those patterns so that we can get rid of that anxiety long term. Of course, stress is always a part of life, right? You're never going to get rid of stress, but having the tools and techniques to start being aware of kind of when that stress is coming in so that you can go, okay, I need to shift some gears here. I'm starting to feel like this again. I know what I need to do, right? So I really start with people, we zoom out, right? Anxiety doesn't start at the panic attack. Like if you're having a panic attack, that means you've had thousands of moments leading up to it where you were living out of alignment and ignoring the signals that your body and maybe your mind were trying to give you. So we really focus on core values, right? Who are you? What actually matters to you? Not what you've been told should matter, right? But what truly drives like your peace, your clarity for fulfillment, like at your core, who are you? Because
Awesome.
when you lose sight of those values, you really lose your direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when your behavior doesn't align with what matters most, whether you realize it or not, you really start to feel off. And that disconnect is the invisible ground for breeding anxiety.
Awesome. I love that. I mean, you're right on point. Like you have to figure out, where did this come from? Where did you, and that works, obviously for us in the coaching. It also, like you said, you're not a therapist, but that's also what therapists have to do as well. They have to find that out as well because you didn't all of a sudden get to the certain point in your life. Things happened. So, alrighty. So you mentioned, oh, sorry. Hi. Let's start that again. So many people feel like they should have it all together, but they struggle, internally. So how do you help them break free from that pressure?
So that is one of the biggest lies we've been sold, right? That having it all together means looking put together. Most people I work with are high functioning, high performing, but secretly hanging on by a thread. And that was me included, right? Because they're still performing, they assume that their internal struggle isn't valid, or they really just think that's the cost of success, that this is what success looks like. I'm just going to always be stressed out. I'm always going to be anxious. That's just part of the deal. And I will say that it hits women differently, right? Men are often rewarded for focusing on their careers, setting those boundaries, right? Being assertive. When it's women, like we're praised more when we're accommodating, selfless, emotionally available, endlessly resilient. We're the ones that, the moms, right? If you will.
Mm-hmm.
And we're expected to do it all, look good doing it, and never make anyone uncomfortable along the way, right? We're the people pleasers. So the pressure isn't just internal, like it's cultural, generational, it's really deep in our conditioning. And yeah, there is a lot of it hardwired in our DNA, no denying that. Women are born nurturers, right? The connectors, the caregivers. And when we're constantly in spaces that were never designed for how we operate best, right? That pressure compounds. And it's not that we don't belong in the boardroom, right? We've proven over and over that we do. But we have done it as a cost. Women, and I'm really kind of speaking to women specifically, like we've done it at a cost, like to our well-being, to our family's well-being, like, and often, right, our own sense of self. Who are we? What are we doing here? And that's the conversation that's missing, right? In order to make it in quotations, many of us have had to play by rules that weren't written for us. We've been trained to prioritize optics over alignment, say yes when we mean no, keep producing even though we are burnt out, make sure everyone else is happy while we silently fall apart. It's not that we're weak, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've just been wired to believe that slowing down, asking for help, putting ourselves first just makes us selfish or lazy. And it doesn't. We're human, right? We can only do so much. So I really just like to remind my clients, especially women, that giving yourself grace it's not indulgent, right? It's not special. It's not something you should only do once in a while. Like it's part of essentially who you are. We spent decades proving we can do it all. But now we just need to kind of take a step back and say, do we even want to? right?
Yeah.
Balance isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters and just letting the rest go.
It's so funny because you're preaching to the choir, I'm sure, for so many women, just because, especially ones being moms, because there's so much that's put on a pressure of, like you've been, like you were a single mom. My sister is a single mom. There's a lot of pressure on her to do specific things in a certain way and still somehow pull off being an executive, in a company and at her job. I think she's doing a great job personally. I do, but I can also see
Mm.
that I loved that. I think it was last week or the week she took a mental health day. She knew that she needed to do a day for herself. And I applauded her for it because we've come to a point where a lot of people don't realize you really do need these days. You really do need that time. And in my, for what I do with my clients, I teach them you have to be able to be yourself. Finding the work-life balance, that's a double-edged sword. Companies are going to say, oh, we have a work-life balance, but we really don't. And if you get it, that's awesome. It's not the norm, no matter what they try to say. But I think that when you can be able to know already that you need that break for yourself, I mean, my sister pampered herself. She went and got, a mani-pedi. She did, just stuff for herself that day and relaxed. And it's like, good job, that you realized that you needed this and you had a company that understood that you needed to do it.
Well, and on top of that, since she is an executive and in a leadership position, it sets a really great example, right?
Yeah.
For everyone else that works there.
Especially for her team,
Yes.
and she told me a great story about a brand new employee that's coming on board, and how that she said, I am going to give them the work-life balance. They have to go and take care of something personally. So they're not going to be physically in the office. That's fine. They can work from there. And at a time where so many companies are pulling people back into the office and have been for a little bit, I love that she even understood that, yes, family does come first. Really, sorry, companies. But family does come first, because if we can't be with our families, what are we making the money for? To not be able to spend time with our family? Well, that's not fun.
Right.
So,
and I will say this, I guarantee that her team loves and respects her for doing that for herself, and then giving them that feeling that it's okay for them to do that too. Like, that's really
yeah,
important. Cheers to your
100%.
sister. I love that.
Yeah. I was very happy when she did that. I was like, wow, you might have actually been listening to your brother a little bit. So, so what do you find are some common misconceptions about anxiety that you wish more people understood?
I think one of the big misconceptions is that anxiety is just in your head, right? Like, it's just something you can breathe through or think your way out of. And that's just not true, right? I just want to be very clear about that. You can't mindset your way out of a nervous system that's screaming for help,
No.
Now, if you've done the work, right? If you've done that tactical, consistent training, and it takes years, if you really hit that point, um, yeah, you can do it. But if you're kind of just starting out and starting to feel that anxiousness and that fact, that there's hope that you don't get to that point where your nervous system is screaming so much that it's just always on edge. Because anxiety isn't just mental, right? It's also very physical, and a lot of people don't know that. It's emotional, hormonal, habitual. There was something I neglected for a really long time in my younger days as a woman. Is like, oh, I don't get any sort of way, before that time of the month. I'm always on point. Nothing affects me ever. That was not true. And your ability to handle stress and anxiety as you're kind of coming up to those times, very much impacted. Um, it shows up in your body before it ever shows up really anywhere else, in your thoughts, in your gut, your sleep, your energy, your immune system, all of these things. Like by the time you get to panic mode or overwhelmed or shut down, your body's already kind of been saying, hey, pay attention over here, pay attention over here. Like your body's always giving you signs. So it's really all about that awareness, right? Um, Another misconception that happens, and this one happened to me while I was in the middle of my pretty big mental breakdown. Um, this is who I am now, right? This is permanent. I'm always going to be stuck this way. Oh my God, what is this? This is horrible. I can't live like this anymore, right?
Yeah.
But that's false. And I am just telling you from experience, right? I used to believe that. Like, this is who I am now. I'm never going to be normal again. I can't live like this. Scary place to be. But I promise, right? You're not broken. You're not destined to live that way. Anxiety is not your personality. It's just a pattern, right? It's a pattern, and it's a pattern that you allowed to write because maybe you weren't paying attention, but you can always rewrite it, right? Um, and people tend to assume anxiety is a you problem, right? Like, oh, you just need to meditate more, or you need to stop overthinking. But no, anxiety is normal. It's a rational response to living out of alignment under chronic pressure, stress, no boundaries, misaligned values, all of that stuff. It's not a weakness, but it's a warning, right? And that's sort of where I come in. I don't teach you how to tolerate the anxiety. I help you to learn from it, use it, and build a life where it's no longer running the show. You're back in control, right? Anxiety is not the enemy. It's the wake up call. And what you do with it, that's where the power comes in. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, when I was in the thick of it, if anyone would have spoken these words to me, I'd be like, you're crazy.
Well, and I think that, one of the biggest things we have to do, and I love how you said this, and you're not the first coach to tell me this, is we need to listen to our bodies. I don't even know what. So a few months back, I interviewed a weight loss coach, and she even said the same thing. You got to listen to your body. And everybody, I think you got to listen to what your body is telling you, because if you have high anxiety, if you're stressed about something, firstly, you're probably going to see it in one way or another. And to really take a look at yourself and see, okay, this is why this is happening. This is why I'm not sleeping. This is why I'm not doing this. This is what, this is why this is happening. This is why I snap at this, whatever. It all kind of comes full circle. Now, like you said, it's huge to recognize it, and you are there to help with your clients. And I think that's, a lot of people need it more than they realize, because that's just how, I think we're a little bit designed. Well, a lot of people don't like to ask for help, just in general. But that's why we do what we do. We're here to help. And
100%.
So for somebody who's listening right now, who feels like anxiety is totally running the show, what's the first step that they can take today to start reclaiming their life?
I mean, I would say first step is just pause, right? And pause to tell yourself the truth. Not the filtered version of the I'm fine that you keep giving other people, right? That you keep saying every day, and you wake up and you can probably tell yourself, I'm fine, everything's fine. But the real honest truth, right? What is not working right now? What is draining you? What's just sucking the energy out of you? What are you tolerating that's just slowly killing your peace? What do you keep saying yes to? When you say yes, your body probably gives you a response that's screaming, no, we don't want to do that. You don't have to fix it all today. It's literally impossible to fix it all today, right? But you do stop pretending everything's fine. Once you kind of name it, once you find at least one thing, right, that is going on, then you can start to change it. And that's kind of how you shift from powerless to present. And then from there, you just take one action at a time that aligns with the version of you that's done living this way. It could be anything. Cancel a plan. Maybe you said yes to an event that you really don't want to go to, and you know going to it is going to just be painful, and you're going to have to recover from it, right? You shouldn't have to recover from going to an event.
Very true, yes.
Maybe it's just writing in a journal every day, right? Tracking how you're feeling after you eat. Figuring out where your energy really goes. Like maybe it's after you've had a couple of meetings at work. Like, how do you feel? What types of meetings are those? Do you really need to be in those meetings? Could you change how those meetings go? There's so many things, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. But small moves do lead to big momentum. So, and that's the moment you stop acting or accepting anxiety as your baseline. And that's where your transformation can start to begin. But yeah, it's
awesome.
Turning off that I'm fine in your head.
Well, I think you would probably agree on this, because I know I was taught this, I feel like decades ago, that it takes 30 days to make or break a habit. And doing something as simple, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, like mindset or meditation, like it's not instant. You might feel something, maybe, if doing it the first time, maybe, probably not. I think that I've done meditation a few times, more than, probably a handful of times. And each time it's been a little bit better. But I can definitely, the first time I did it, I was like, what the heck? Like, no.
What's going on?
Exactly. And with the mindset, it's something, you're training your brain. You're training your brain to, as we know, thinking the more positive, to really get at the root of what, needs to be, changed in our lives. And so
absolutely, it takes time. And eventually, when you, especially with meditation, right, you reach that point where you start to wake up and go, I don't know how I lived my life without kind of starting my day like this, or even if you end your day like that, right? Like it's it becomes one of those non-negotiables, because it does work long term, right?
Exactly.
And meditation doesn't have to be you sitting and staring at a wall and trying to not have thoughts. That's not what meditation is.
No, and I learned that last year when I was in a huge meditation. I was like, oh, I thought it always had to be, you had to be silent, you had to be laying down, you had to kind of turn off your brain. And it's the exact opposite. You can be sitting in a chair, you could be laying down, you can be in wherever you want to be. It doesn't have to be in that specific. And I don't know why it was ever thought that way. I don't even know how I learned that, but when I learned it, I was the new kind of correct way to do it, in my opinion, and many others. I was like, oh, okay. And trying to, especially with people like your clients, and I'm sure many of our listeners listening right now, especially with high anxiety, you're not going to be able to turn that off to do a meditation type of, that's not going to happen at all. But what I've learned, and you probably agree, focusing on maybe even one of those things that are causing your anxiety is going to help you a little bit more in the meditation than letting your brain run like crazy. Because here's the deal. If our brain's not running, we're dead. So there's a big problem there. We need that running. We need our brain thinking. We better. I plan on living a lot longer than where I am right now, so my brain better be running for quite a while. So, I love this. Oh my goodness. So I am going to ask you some questions that you didn't get to prepare for, so you're welcome. So, if your anxiety had a name and a catchphrase, what would it be?
I know the catchphrase, and I'm trying to think of the name. Huh. Well, don't put me on an improv stage. Please.
Oh, I would 100% always freeze on an improv stage. But
Oh, what do I mean? I mean, really, like, my anxiety to me is just pure fear, right? That's really all it is pure fear. And the tagline is get out,
yeah,
run
I
away.
like that.
Whatever this is, get away from it, which is hard to do when it's on the inside.
Very
Right?
true. Yes. Okay. I get, excuse me. So let me ask you one more question. What's one guilty pleasure that you turn to when you need a quick mindset reset?
So I actually have a couple of my own personal meditations that I created in my own voice.
Oh, awesome.
Right? I've learned kind of through my own experimentation that doing guided meditation with my own voice has really helped me trust myself more. Right? Which
I
has
mean,
been
that makes sense, honestly, because you're hearing yourself. It's not some
right.
guru or whoever might be doing the meditation. So I think that actually, I don't know, I kind of feel almost like psychologically that's probably a better thing.
Yes, I
It's
was
your
kind
own
of scared
voice.
about it at first, right? Because most of us we don't like the sound of our own voice. Oh my gosh, I don't want to hear my voice. And when I started saying that to myself, that's when I was like, well, then it sounds like you need to hear your own voice more. And I will say, like, I now find my own, especially my own internal voice, much more soothing, trustworthy, like comforting. And so, yeah, if I'm struggling, I turn to myself now, which has been also very interesting. Never thought I ever would have said that.
Well, I think it actually you said it. I think it's more trustworthy. You're trusting yourself more because it's your voice telling you.
Yeah.
It's not someone else telling you. It's you telling yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that I have a friend of mine, a fellow coach of mine, who she reads affirmations to herself. Like she records them and then she listens to them.
Heck
And it's
yeah.
like, nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I keep forgetting the app and I keep forgetting to add it onto my phone, the one that she uses. One day I'll remember to ask her when we have our like 9 million. Do what?
Is it Audacity or no?
No, I don't remember what she uses, but she's told me it a few times and I feel bad that I still haven't done it.
Got it.
Sorry.
Well,
Sorry, Jane.
I actually offer a workshop doing both of those things. I offer a 2-hour workshop where I help people create their own meditations.
That's awesome.
And then on top of that, affirmations as well, right? Because a meditation is more like I'm going to actually spend 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes. Like I'm going to get in here. Whereas
Mhm.
the affirmations is more of a reminder. Maybe it's only 3 to 5 minutes. So yeah,
I might have to hire you. And
love it.
so this is kind of fun, and I've never had this type of question. So thank you, ChatGPT, for giving me this idea. What song instantly makes you feel like a total powerhouse?
It's a song called "I Believe" by Three-Legged Fox.
Awesome. Very cool. I'm going to have to remember that
I'm
and
guessing a lot of people have never heard that song. Go check it out. I don't know how you don't feel like a badass after you hear that song.
I love that. That's awesome. I think there's definitely songs that have gotten me pumped up. Athletically, when I was swimming events, there were things that I would listen to before events. It happens in if you watch the Olympics, you see so many athletes wearing headphones before they're going to their events. They're pumping themselves up. They're getting into that mindset. They're getting ready for that race to tell themselves, you're a badass. You're going to win this. You're going to do, your best. And so I still have never, for me personally, I have songs that get me in a pumped up mood. but I'm not sure I have anything that tells me you're a badass.
Oh, yeah. This is a good
So
one.
I'm gonna definitely have to listen to that and see, and who knows, I might steal that from you and have that is
Do it.
my little anthem.
On
So
the spectrum of that, I also actually have a playlist for when I'm having not great days. That those songs help me just go deeper into the suck and just feel it and cry and do whatever I got to do, right?
okay,
And then when that's over, you feel better.
I have songs that help me find that joy again, find that happiness. I have tried to help, my clients as well, because with me, kind of similar to you kind of, we've both been in a position, and I'm not the only coach recently that's done this, is kind of rebranding ourselves just a little bit, just because the way everything is happening.
Yeah,
And I think that it's always been what I've been doing. This, I've just pushed it to the forefront, is really helping people, focusing on their purpose, helping people with their happiness. We're in a point, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look, there are times where people just let things overtake them. And it kind of works with anxiety. We let anxiety take over us. And then there's definitely certain music, there's certain, types of genres of music that put me just in a much better mood.
yes,
And I might look like a goofball blasting out that music. And you know what? I don't care. It's helping me feel better, and it's helping me get into the right space that I need to be in to just go through my day.
absolutely. Music is a powerful tool.
It is, and I need it especially right now because I'm in a choir and we're singing all about breast cancer. It's the 25th anniversary of Sing for the Cure with Susan G. Komen Foundation, and let's be real, breast cancer is not a happy subject.
No,
And so enough that there is actually a song in our set of music that I jokingly say that I have to go dead and not think about the words, because it's so powerful. Every single time that we have sang that song in rehearsal, I've teared up every single time. And
that's
it's
good.
like, wow, holy cow. And I don't really know anyone personally that's ever had breast cancer, but I know that I've known people who've had cancer. And it made me, it's a song about a mother and a daughter. And it just made me, and honestly makes me think of my sister and her daughter. Not that my sister has cancer, not that her daughter or my niece has cancer, but it just put that into my head the very first time I heard that song. And I was like, whoa, we got to think of something else. And then I've now been told, because there's narration through this whole set, that you need to listen to the narration or you're going to lose it in the concert. And I'm like, awesome. Let's not do that. So let's think of, so I'm trying to go back now and listen to that so so I'm prepared,
Sure,
to when that comes, because it's okay for the audience to lose it, but when we're singing this music, we're trying to see, I guess it's okay if we lose it during a narration. We're not actually singing during that time period. But yeah, I think music is powerful. And um I think that there's a reason, we're way far away from it, because we're in right now, we're in the spring, and most people are not thinking about, for me personally, holiday music is what puts me in it, because the holidays, they say it's the best time of the year. It puts everybody in a happy mood. I am a little obsessed with the holidays, especially Christmas, because Christmas Eve is my birthday. And I could listen to holiday music 24/7. It always, now there's certain songs that I'm like, okay, that's a little cheesy. But then there's others that really makes me think, and it puts me in that much better space. Um, Unlike any other time of the year. And I do go gung ho like Christmas in July. Like, that is a time that I don't care that whole day, especially like July 24th, 25th, because that would be literally the time belt it out. You will see my social media will have Christmas out the wazoo. Like it will have everything decorated because first off, why not? And hey, my partner should be happy I don't like decorate during this time of year. That I
No
mean,
July decorations? Not yet, anyway.
no, not yet, but anything's possible. We do have a new place, so there could be an area that might have Christmas up in July. You never know. We did used to go to a church that actually in for Christmas in July, they had a Christmas tree and in the corner of the sanctuary that they would, and that they would have people do um, different things for like it was like community based, like so things to help like with the homeless initiative that they do with the church and things. So it was kind of fun. You would choose like the ornament off the tree, and it would tell you what's needed.
I love that.
So I kind of miss that they don't do it, but then I also just thought about it. We're not there in July. I rehearse in that church from January through May, and then I'm not back in that church until like late August. So if they do something, I'm not seeing it because I'm not in the church at that time, but anymore at least. So this has been fun. I actually have for what our listeners are going to know or not know is that we did record a previous episode, but because Michele, like myself, is rebranded and we're powering through our awesomeness and doing things differently, I thought it was only right to offer to do a new recording because we're going to succeed in our new rebranding. We're going to have awesome, results, and I felt that it was only right for Michele to be able to share like what she's doing now. So I have loved this. This has been fun. So I would want to ask you, what piece of advice or actionable tip could you leave for our listeners today, especially in regards to like anxiety?
I mean, really just find a way, whether it is through a coach, maybe you are at a place where therapy is needed. You know, figure out what it is that you need and then go do it. Don't put it off. Not when it comes to stress and anxiety. You will blow up at some point in time in your life if you do not address it. I can tell you that with 100% certainty, not just from my own experience, but from all the other people I've known in my life. It will all come out eventually. And take the proactive advantage, and do something about it now, so you don't have that full eruption, right? That would be my biggest piece of advice.
Awesome. I agree with that. Yeah. Take the initiative now. Do it. Figure it out. Do what you need to do.
Yes.
100%.
For your own sanity.
Yes. Yes. So, listeners, I will be putting Michele's social media ways you can find her on social media, Facebook page and her LinkedIn. I can tell you because I see it every day and I love it. She posts videos every day and they're awesome. They're quick, they're to the point, and they're very. You can engage. I'm sure you would love people engaging.
Of course.
With your videos because
Questions anyone ever has, comments, whatever, I'm there.
they're great. I can tell you, listen, they're great. And she and I actually had this conversation. We had this conversation like a few weeks ago about it. So I know I'm seeing it, and so I guarantee you other people are seeing it. So I encourage you follow go especially LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever find her to check out everything that she's doing. And if you happen to need, like for me personally, if you're in a place where you need to find your purpose again, find your happiness, don't feel bad. We all go through different things that affect us in life. And I think when you can realize and you accept that you need the help, you're actually a stronger person for it. I think that some of the times, and Michelle, you mentioned this earlier, there's so much put on women, on mothers, that you were supposed to be a certain way, you're supposed to do certain things. And knowing that you can ask for help, that you can seek out help, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a therapist, it can be a coach. We're probably a little bit easier to chat with than a therapist. I'm just gonna and truthfully, we might actually be cheaper. Um, but and we're a lot of fun. Clearly, we like to laugh and have fun. And I mean, listeners, you're gonna have to go and find that powerhouse song that Michelle told us about, because I don't know about you, but I'm excited to go and listen to it and hear it, and for myself to find a song that really pumps me up. I have songs that get me pump me up in general, and songs that put me in a better mood, as we've discussed. Clearly, Christmas music. So
I love Christmas music too, with a passion.
this next year, I feel really bad for my partner. Our house might literally look like a Hallmark Christmas movie this next year. And so be it. We've been together 11 years. You should know better by now. So I just want to thank you, Michelle, so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. And we definitely are going to have to, I'm going to have to get off my butt and come up north and see you, because you're not even that far, which is so hilarious. Like it really isn't. It probably takes me longer to get to the airport than it would to come up to actually just drive like north. Actually, it's kind of funny to know how close we are.
Well, we can meet in the middle. We'll find somewhere and go get coffee.
This is true. And love coffee. So who would have thought? I couldn't stand it as, when I was a young adult, and now my day is not complete if I don't have coffee. And people, you better stay away from me if I don't have my coffee first. So, but again, Michelle, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Listeners, if you're in that, time, if you're in a position in your life that you're struggling with anxiety, I highly recommend, reaching out to Michelle, because she is going to help you. She's going to help you a heck of a lot better than I could. I help people find jobs and be their authentic selves, and, helping you with your purpose and your happiness. But she's the one that's going to be able to help and figure out, like she mentioned, finding that core value. What is causing that anxiety?
Yeah,
And
we'll get all out of the way.
Yes. I think a lot of us let it get too far before we really are wanting to figure out why, I guess, is really, why are we at this point? And Michelle's going to be able to help you with that. So, thank you again, Michelle, so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Oh my gosh, I could not be more grateful on multiple levels, right? Like, thank you so much for your support, and such beautiful, kind words about my videos. Like, thank you so much. I was very nervous to start doing those videos a few months ago. Like, you have no idea. So I'm very grateful. And I'm even more grateful that you took extra time, right, to re-record this podcast with me, because I'm rebranding, right? Like, it means so much. It really does. Like, it really does. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. So listeners, I just thank you so much. If you have any questions for either of us, obviously put it in, the comments on the episode. This will go out on social media, so if you're listening to it right now, you've probably seen it on our social media channels. So because that's how it gets out there. And I'm thankful getting to do what I get to do. I love coaching people, but I have to say, at the end of the day, this is what I love. I think maybe even more is being able to reach out to other people in the coaching world, so we can be able to help people, and share what we do. because not necessarily, you don't just find a coach by, happenstance. It just doesn't happen. We have to take the effort and to find, like, I got into coaching, someone had suggested it, but it just was, in the end, it was me who had to take the action to be able to get to where I am. And so I know that Michele did the same thing. We realized that this is what we, want to do, and what we're, that we love doing. So I thank everybody, for listening today. If you enjoy this episode, obviously subscribe. These episodes come out every single week. And so thank you again so much. I appreciate it. Until next time, listeners, this is to everyone, keep showing up, keep owning your path, and remember, you deserve a life where you can truly be yourself. So stay proud, stay empowered, and we will see you back here soon.